Welcome to our Molly of Denali virtual family community learning workshop. This is session number 4, and today we're going to be talking about celebrating traditions. I'm Cindy Putnam.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Chelsea Gifford.
And we're so glad you joined us. Traditions are very important, and it's a way to remind us about who we are and where we come from. And one of the things that Molly wants to remind everyone of is the Alaskan Native values. And we're going to be looking at value number 8, and that's in your museum guide that you picked up from the library. And value number 8 is honoring your elders. They show you the way in life. And I just wondered, Riley, is there an elder or someone who's older in your life that's really helped you?
Yes, my grandma has taught me how to not be scared of what has to be done right.
Oh, his grandmother taught him not to be scared of what has to be done right. That's so great. How about you, Miss Chelsea? Is there an elder in your life that you honor?
Yes, actually, it's my grandma too. I really spent a lot of time with my grandmother when I was growing up, and she just taught me how to be a good friend. She was always there to play and do things with me, and I just appreciate that.
And it has to be my grandparents too, because my grandparents lived on farms, and so we worked in the garden and we did all kinds of things like that together. And I learned how to can and to grow vegetables and how to make some really, really great sugar cookies, but I've never been able to make them as great as my grandmother's, even though I have her recipe. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, celebrating traditions. And all of us come from different places, and you're going to be able to see online an episode about how Molly's community makes a traditional Alaskan ice cream, and it's made out of moose fat. I know, it's really, really interesting. But celebrating traditions, and Molly's grandfather makes that ice cream, and she's going to learn how to make it. There's also a segment in Molly of Denali called Ask Molly, where you can ask Molly questions and she explains things. But Miss Chelsea, I have a question to ask you. We're talking about traditions. What is a tradition?
Oh, let's learn. A tradition is an activity or way to do something that you learn from elders. A tradition could be a recipe, like Miss Cindy talked about with her grandparents, a song, a dance, a handshake, or some other activity that is meaningful to you and your family.
So a tradition is something that sets your family apart from other families, because all families look different. All families are from different places, and they have different color skin, and they have different ideas about what they do, and they might speak a different language. And so we're all learning to love people who are different from us, and learning to love people helps us if we learn about their traditions and where they come from and things that make them feel special. So Molly's artifact today is a recipe to make the ice cream with ingredients that are normally found in Alaska. And Riley, it's moose fat, moose meat, and you can use berries, and she used blueberries. Now, isn't that an interesting way to make ice cream? Would we think about using or making ice cream from animal fat?
It doesn't really sound good, but there's always a time for trying something new.
That's right. Good job. It might not sound good, but there is always a time for trying something new. So one of the things that they traditionally made were, and Miss Chelsea helped me with how you pronounce that, it's the paper gorget, but they actually made them out of shells, and they carved onto the shells, and they also put those around their neck. But this is a wooden box that I have, and do you see, can you feel the carving on that? This was all hand carved. So these are the kinds of things that the native people would have made and worn. They might have made them on a necklace around their neck that they wore, and that was a tradition. So celebrating traditions, you're going to get an opportunity to research a tradition in your family.
Yeah, spend some time brainstorming what traditions you have, how did you learn it, and what tradition is very important to you. So we all kind of have our favorites, what we spend time doing together as a family. So this is the page that you can jot those ideas down.
And as I was saying, that we looked about the different shells and things that some people carved on, and that was a group of Native Americans that lived in the United States, and they would find shells, And when they found the shells, they would carve either stories, very much kind of like a totem pole symbol, where they carve stories. And you can see that when they were carving these things, they were artifacts that they could pass down from one generation to the next, just like this box. I think about quilts. In our part of the United States, a lot of people made quilts, and they would pass them down to other family members. And so an artifact, a tradition, is something that your family does. And one of the things that I know that Riley's family does is they like to make trail mix. So Riley, let's show some of the ingredients, because Riley picked out what he wanted in his trail mix. Can you show us what you're going to put in?
Gold Oreos.
Stand up so you can, okay, so you're going to put in
Gold Oreo minis.
gold Oreo minis,
Mini Chips Ahoy.
mini Chips Ahoy,
And some pretzels.
and some pretzels. And boys and girls, this is a snack, and remember, when we're choosing our snacks, we're just gonna eat a certain amount of things because we wanna always eat healthy foods. Riley's putting on his gloves to make his trail mix. He's gonna be mixing this together. And as he's mixing this together, he's going to remember in his mind what he is doing, because then he's gonna create a recipe. And when he does that, then he can create a tradition that he could pass down and share. So, Miss Chelsea, in our museum planner from Molly, what does it tell us that we can do there on the top to name our tradition?
Yeah, so you'll put the name. So what would you name this, Riley, your trail
I
mix?
would name it Happy Trail Mix.
Happy Trail Mix, that's awesome. So you put the name of your tradition, and his is gonna be Happy Trail Mix. And you're gonna do a little description about what your tradition is about. So he is making a snack for the family, a fun afternoon snack, however you wanna label that, that's where that will go. And then you'll, on this box right here, you'll list your materials and ingredients. So he's using gloves as a material. He already labeled his snacks, but he's using a bowl to mix it in. And so you'll list all those things there so you won't forget how you made it.
And Raleigh, you could possibly start a tradition of your family having this as a summer snack, but I know your family likes to read, so wouldn't this be a great snack for you to create, and you could have it as you all were reading with your family? You know, put some of those in it. So tell Miss Chelsea, we've got the name of it, so what's the name of our mix?
Happy Trail Mix.
Happy Trail Mix. And then what were our ingredients?
Mini Gold Oreos.
Hmm?
Mini Chips Ahoy. And pretzels.
And pretzels. And now you want to mix those up a little bit, because he's got his gloves on, so he's going to mix those up. Now Raleigh's just going to be sharing this with his mom today. So if we were going to be sharing this with lots of other people that weren't in our family, we might want to put it in little individual bags or in little containers. But Raleigh's going to be sharing this with his mom. He's going to take his gloves off now. And Riley and I talked about this earlier. Instead of writing his recipe, he's going to start a new tradition. What are you going to start a new tradition of doing?
Drawing your ingredients.
Oh.
He's going to draw his ingredients. And Riley, why did you say that you think that's a really great idea, to draw the ingredients instead of writing them?
Instead of writing them and drawing them, just in case there's someone else from like a different country or something that can't really read English yet.
Good idea. So he's thinking about all of our friends from different countries that maybe don't read or speak English, but everyone can understand pictures, and a recipe is a form of informational text. And how great, Riley, that you're going to be. So I'll let you get started on that. And Miss Chelsea, today the activity is making a paper gorget. I'm so glad that you taught me how to say that. Telling a story like my ancestors is easier if we have something that represents the story. So the materials are listed, and you can use strings, beads, scissors, markers, and parents, make sure when you're using beads and things with your kids that you're always helping them. But also in your museum planner, there is a step-by-step sequence, and we know it really helps kids develop a concept of what happens first, in the middle, and last, if they use some kind of chart to help them with sequencing. So Miss Chelsea, what kind of chart is that?
Yeah, so they have little boxes here, and it labels them step 1, step 2, step 3. So you can work your way through that sequence of whatever tradition that you're doing. And in Riley's case, he's going to do each step of how he makes his trail mix. So what would be step 1, Riley?
I would say it would be to I would say to add the Oreos in.
Add the Oreos, and maybe even before that, you had to put what on your hands?
Gloves.
Gloves. So you have to think about all those steps that it took to start your tradition so that maybe in the future somebody could replicate that.
And in order for someone to replicate it or make it just like you can't leave out any steps.
Mhm.
So Raleigh, the first step was, what did you do? You decided what was going to be in your trail mix. Then you got your materials, your bowl and your gloves, and then you started adding everything together. And after you added it all together, what did you do?
I mixed it up with my gloves on.
Mixed it up with your gloves on. Do you want to show us your recipe? Are you almost finished?
Yep, I'm almost finished.
Okay, well, I'll wait till you get finished. So, as Miss Chelsea said, you pick a design. If you were going to make something that looks interesting, you pick what colors you're going to use. If you're making an art project, you cut your materials, you can poke a hole. This is to make something special, but also you can download all of these. You can download Molly's recipe book. You can also download What's Cooking, because we know that cookbooks are a great way to pass down traditions. And also, there's the design for the paper necklace that Miss Chelsea was telling you about. And that's another way to celebrate traditions. Miss Chelsea, do you have any books in the library that help us celebrate traditions?
Of course. We have books about traditions from around the world. So this one in particular is about wishing traditions. So we all have, I don't know that you can see this little girl, she's wishing on one of the dandelion, what are those called?
Dandelions, you're right.
When they have
It's
the
the
little fuzzy
seeds,
part,
yes.
yep. And you make a wish when you blow those off into the grass and stuff. So that's a tradition that we all know kind of around here, but there's some different kinds from around the world. Another great word if you're searching for traditions is customs. So if you're looking for books about that, you'll find some really great stuff.
And it's really great to learn about different families and different ideas. I mean, Miss Chelsea, I'm sure that in your family, when you all have like a special meal, are there special recipes that you really love for people to make?
Oh yeah, my mom is a great baker, so we all put in our requests when we're all getting together so that we could have our favorite pie or cookies or something that she'll make for us.
So if you don't have any traditions in your family that you've told your children about, it's time to start one. And if you do have traditions from your elders, then teach your children about that, because it really helps them know who they are and where they come from. So Raleigh, let's see your paper picture recipe.
Hold that up real high.
Put your gloves onto your hand,
Put your gloves onto your hand.
and put the Oreo into the bowl with your gloves on.
Oreos next.
And then put your Chips Ahoy in,
Chips Ahoy next.
and then pretzels.
Pretzels next. And then,
you get the full bowl of trail mix.
do you want to pick something out to have a little snack on and see what it tastes like?
Yeah, I'll get one of everything.
You're getting one of everything. Good idea. Oh, he's taking a bite of everything.
I like that.
Thumbs up, good? Really good. All right. And your mobile device game for today from PBS Kids Molly of Denali is Beading Art, and beads are a way of telling stories and passing down traditions. I'm so excited that you joined us for these sessions of Molly of Denali. Please watch Molly of Denali on PBS Kids. It's a great program. It really helps you learn about another family and different cultures and traditions. And also remember, come to the library, because all the informational text that we've talked about today lives right here.
It does. I'm so excited. So you can find anything that we talked about, the books that were featured in the videos. Please come check them out, and you'll find so much more if you come explore at the library.
And also, PBS Learning Media online, you can find all of the resources that Miss Chelsea and Raleigh and I shared with you for Molly of Denali, and for all the other great PBS Kids shows like Odd Squad, Wild Kratts, Pinkalicious, all those, Raleigh shaking his head, yes, all those really, really great shows. Thank you for joining us, and remember, your public library is the best place you can come in Cookeville.
Yeah, I agree. Bye.
Bye.